Dragon Ball is a fun series with cool fights, lots of action, suspense, great moments, etc. But is that really all? Series creator Akira Toriyama's reputation in Japan has always been that of a gag manga comedy writer who just happened to draw great action scenes. But one thing I feel a lot of people overlook are the themes of the series. Start to finish, Dragon Ball as a whole has various overarching themes, but when you break the series down, each individual major story arc has themes within its own that can be analyzed and dissected, and perhaps one would get even more enjoyment and appreciation of Toriyama Sensei's work after doing so. Starting with this episode of Dragon Ball In Depth, and for the next 3 editions, I will delve into the various themes behind the 4 major story arcs of the Z portion of Dragon Ball: the Vegeta arc, the Frieza arc, the Cell arc, and the Buu arc, and thus on this video I will take a deep analysis of the first major arc of Dragon Ball Z, the Vegeta Saga.
.この放送はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
In my opinion, the first arc of Dragon Ball Z was significantly better in the anime than its manga counterpart, primarily because of the extra filler telling the development of Gohan and his quest home. From the start, the narration of DBZ tells us that Gohan is the heir apparent to the throne, a boy with limitless potential and the one who could one day be realized as the strongest in the world. With Goku dead, Piccolo took responsibility in training the boy for 1 year in preparation for the arrival of Vegeta and Nappa in the climax of the arc. For the first 6 months, Piccolo would simply watch Gohan attempt to survive in the wild. Gohan learned about the importance of sacrifice, about the importance of survival of the fittest, and most importantly, the fact that, as Uncle Ben once told us, with great power comes great responsibility. Even though Gohan was born and raised kind of a spoiled kid who had everything, Gohan learned true survival skills while he was in the wilderness, actually creating his own raft, despite the dangers of a thunderstorm, to sail home to his mother. The key turning point for Gohan's character was in Dragon Ball Z episode 16. In this episode, Gohan meets a group of orphans who marvel at Gohan for having a mother. This puts into perspective the fact that not everybody has a mother, and that one should be grateful for having one, and that Gohan was one of the lucky ones. The episode climaxes with Gohan finally arriving at home on Mount Paozu, where his concerned mother wondered for 6 months about her lost son. At that moment, Gohan realized that his mother and his desire to be a scholar and his pampering had to stop because the entire world depended on him and his secret power. Gohan chose to fight. The anime added several layers to Gohan's character with this filler, not present in the manga, and is one of the few times where even the purest manga enthusiasts think the anime did it better. Gohan learned there were bigger fish to fry than just himself, and as another great man once said, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Piccolo's singular story arc may have been the most important part of this arc, and in my opinion, the apex of the Piccolo character. When we are told of Demon King Piccolo's backstory, we're told that he's the physical manifestation of the purest form of evil extracted from the body of the son of Katatsu, better known as Kami, or the nameless Namekian, and as a prerequisite to take the position of God of Earth, it had to happen. Because Demon King Piccolo was the purest of evil, it was natural to believe that his offspring, his reincarnation, would follow suit. The question of whether or not Demon King Piccolo was truly 100% evil is a question that I may address in a future video, but nonetheless, when you start watching Dragon Ball Z, there are no real indicators that Piccolo would change his ways. Initially, he chose to train Gohan to help harness his hidden power simply to protect the Earth from the incoming alien threat, and for no other reason than that. Of course, if you've seen or read the series, you know Piccolo grows an attachment to Gohan because Gohan was the first person to ever treat Piccolo like a person. Early in the arc, Kami foreshadows this change in a conversation with Mr. Popo in Dragon Ball Z Episode 7. This culminates in Piccolo sacrificing his life for Gohan in the fight with Nappa. But then that brings up the question, how can the reincarnation of pure evil commit such a selfless act? Well, this is brought about from the concept of free will. Piccolo was the son of the Demon King, a purely evil being, but evil is clearly not hereditary. The sole reason that Daimao birthed Piccolo Jr. was for revenge on Son Goku. His fate seemed unavoidable, and the tragic irony of all this is that Piccolo did indeed get his revenge on Goku by killing him at the start of the arc during the fight with Raditz. So, he did fulfill his destiny, but what was left afterward? Well, Piccolo had to survive, and survival meant harnessing Gohan's power, the power of the son of his arch-nemesis. However, once he grew an attachment to the boy, it became about more than just that. So although Piccolo's destiny was world domination, he exercised free will, the ability to choose between different possible courses of action in life. So when he saw that the boy was in danger of losing his life, Piccolo did the most selfless act that a person could do, throwing himself into harm's way, saving Gohan at the cost of his life, and breaking the boundaries of fate, and proving that despite his heritage, he was one of a kind. And the same goes for Goku. The story of Goku and Vegeta loosely follows the Prince and the Pauper theorem. Vegeta was the prince, raised in royalty, a part of a royal family who ruled an entire planet, raised with the best training methods, never really having to fend on his own and always being surrounded by powerful alpha males. Because Goku as a baby was sent to Earth, he came from more meek and humble beginnings. Vegeta's arrogant point of view stemmed from being somewhat spoiled and was naturally stronger than Goku since childbirth. Goku spent an entire lifetime honing his skills in the martial arts to keep up with newer and more powerful opponents, and now, of course, Vegeta, always learning and developing as a fighter. Goku was raised by his adopted grandpa Gohan in the forest, and we watched him grow up throughout the series and train with a number of different masters and go on various adventures. From the moment Vegeta met Goku and throughout a huge portion of the series, he saw him as being beneath him, a low-class warrior who should be taking orders from him with no objection. Vegeta, like Raditz before him, tried to tempt Goku into giving into his nature, to give into what he was born to be. But Goku's attachment was to the planet Earth and his friendships that he cultivated there, so despite the temptation, Goku was loyal to his upbringing rather than to his birthright. During the battle with Vegeta, the nature was clearly outclassing the nurture, as Vegeta proved to be too much for Goku until he unleashed the Kaioken, a byproduct of his nurturing and training, and even the odds. Vegeta, of course, resorted back to nature during the fight, creating an artificial moon and transforming into an Uzaru, an ability that Goku had long since lost due to his tail being removed years prior. This was an example of nurture somewhat backfiring, because while Kami-sama's intention to remove Goku's tail at the time made a lot of sense, it sure as hell would be useful right about here. In the end, it would be Goku's best friend and Goku's son who would ultimately force Vegeta to retreat, and Goku came to terms with the fact that he wanted to fight Vegeta again, acknowledging that the blood that ran through his veins was indeed that of a warrior race. Goku's self-reflection about his heritage would be something explored much deeper in the next arc, so we'll definitely talk more about it then, specifically when it comes to his past, as well as his relationship with his race, and of course with Frieza. I hope you enjoyed this look back at the themes of the Vegeta saga. Next time, we travel to planet Namek and do battle with the Emperor of the Universe and explore the themes of that arc. That's right, Dragon Ball In Depth talks about the themes of the Frieza saga. I'll catch you then.